Welcome to the beloved community known as UU Amherst. My name's Charlie d-Estries. How's everybody? Good? How's my hair? I'm always wondering, before I start, thank you. You know, I showed up here a little less than a year ago with my very good friend, Julie Marquis. And so we've been here less than a year, and it's been this amazing thing that's happened in my life and hers. And my granddaughter, Poppy, that's sitting there with Kate Smith. So we really do love this community. Never had any idea whatsoever that I'd be involved in a community like this just a year ago. I was out of the community thing 35, 40 years ago. So for me, this was an absolute accidental fortune, because it really has made my life a lot better because of you, because of my new friends here at the UU. We are a community at many ages and stages of life. We have assisted hearing devices at the usher station that's in the back, and childcare and activities all at the back of the chapel. Remember that the sounds of children, especially my grandchild, she makes a lot of noise playing, mean that we are alive and growing. If you're having difficulty hearing or staying present at the service, feel free to move closer to the front. There's no extra charge, just come on up. There's always plenty of seating up here, so come on forward if you're having trouble hearing. Children and young folks are invited to leave after the time for all ages to have some multi-age fun and values building, and return for the last song and announcements. For those gathered in the chapel, I urge you to either place your phone on airplane mode or turn it off completely to free up space for Wi-Fi, so that folks that are watching us all over the place on the internet have the bandwidth to actually watch us. Otherwise, the bandwidth cuts off, the Zoom goes down, and Les has to restart everything to get people involved again. So please put your cell phone on airplane mode. And by the way, if you don't do that, there's a little red light that lights up right behind you, so we'll have to talk to you later. Our song of intention this morning is found in the Teal hymnal, the very first song, number 1000, Morning Has in Body and Spirit and everything you got as we sing.
Y'all know this. One more verse. You can do this.
Well, good morning. So the priest and the rabbi and the imam were at a diner discussing their various faiths and the trials and tribulations of running a place of worship. And the imam said, "You know, we've got bats in the attic of the mosque, and we don't know what to do about it. And the Quran is really pretty strict about how you treat Allah's creatures. But they're really trashing the place." And the rabbi said, "Well, don't get a cat. That only makes things worse." And the priest said, "You know, we used to have that problem in the church. We had bats in the attic." "Well, so what did you do?" He said, "Oh, we tried all kinds of things, but finally we came up with the ideal solution. We baptized them, and we made them members of the congregation, and now we never see them except Christmas and Easter." Well, good morning. It's good to be here. Welcome to this place which we make holy by our presence. These doors are open to all. Bring your brokenness and your personal glow. Bring your fatigue and your energy and your vulnerabilities and strengths, for here you need not hide nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, where the human is celebrated, where compassion is strength. Welcome to this place. Together we make it a holy place.
All right, whose phone was that? The chalice is a cup or vessel that symbolizes the gathered community. The flame represents the spark that each one of us brings to represent the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of our commitment to bring more compassion and justice to the world. Please join me in our chalice lighting words as Julie Marquis does the job. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of our life together. Each week, as we light the chalice to symbolize the gathered community, we also acknowledge that our church is built on holy ground, ground that was first cultivated and occupied by the Haudenosaunee. Our custom when we gather and unity of spirit, and to seek wholeness for ourselves, our children, and our world.
For those of you who may be new to this gathering, I'm Reverend Michelle Buheit, the minister of this congregation. My pronouns, which I offer to create a truly inclusive and brave space for all to live into the fullness of their identities, are she and her. Each week, we bring our whole selves into this sacred time, our joys, our concerns, our sorrows, and the table where we gather is at the heart of the community. I invite you to come forward and to place a stone or a shell on the table labyrinth to bring into this gathered community all that you bring with you today. May we remember that we are called to heal and bring love to the broken places. Come forward as you will. In addition to all that we have brought from our individual lives, we also hold in our hearts all those who are victims of war, those in the Middle East, those in Ukraine and Russia, and all those in the 36 other countries who are embroiled in wars and conflicts. That means that currently 20% of the countries of the world are locked in deadly conflict. That's a breathtaking number. So let's just sit with that for a moment and hold the people, the lands, the non-human siblings on this planet in our hearts. And just hold that. We'll remain seated as we sing together, "This is my song."
Our time for all ages this morning is a wonderful, really wonderful video of people in a microlight aircraft flying with birds. This might just turn into another item on your bucket list, and it just might. Enjoy. Wasn't that beautiful? Just amazing. Children and youth are invited to leave for their program and return toward the end of the service. So we are always pleased to have John Snodgrass in our pulpit. John teaches religion courses at Canisius College and has written numerous books, including Supernatural Shakespeare and the sci-fi comedy novel 13th Moon. He lives in Buffalo with his bride and their 4 children. John?
It was so fantastic to see that video of the people flying with the birds. And then there was the woman with the accordion. And I wondered, because nobody's ever told me, how does one dispose of an accordion? And they didn't have it when they landed. So I guess, sorry, it's just, for some people that is on their bucket list. I want to fly with the birds, and but I've got to bring my accordion. Okay. Yeah, all the way driving here, I was like, what am I going to open this with? And I had nothing. And then it was like a sign. Over the holidays, I got to see a stage adaptation of A Christmas Carol. As a matter of fact, I read that within 20 miles of here, there were 4 different stage. How many of us saw a stage adaptation of A Christmas Carol? Okay, well, there were a lot of them. And I went to see one. And there you've got the Cratchit family, and they're impoverished, and they buy this scrawny little goose, and it's the Tiny Tim of geese. And they bring it home, and Bob, he says this is the most magnificent goose. But everybody's really depressed about it because it's a Charles Dickens story. And then, at the end of the story, Ebenezer Scrooge has this major change of heart which manifests itself in his decree that he's going to get them the biggest goose in London, which means a death sentence to this goose. And so they do it, and he shows up, and he's got this giant goose, and then it's wait, what happened to that little goose that they bought? The little goose that could. I was really pulling for that goose. And what? Did it end up in the ash heap? What do they do with it? The treatment of geese in that book, and frankly, there's just no other word. It is Dickensian. Yeah, I think this is where I'm supposed to find out. Oh, thank you. Okay. The bountiful goose is one of the oldest known religious symbols. If you added up everything, the whole history of Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, you added all that together and you double it. And that's how far back we find prehistoric imagery of the goose. And often, like this, the shape of a bird is combined with the shape of an abundant, fertile, sometimes pregnant woman. There are many surviving Stone Age examples of this, including a statue of a hybrid goose goddess from around 16,000 years ago that was found in the Ukraine. Some anthropologists suggest that these statues are not goddesses, but may represent the psychedelic shamaness on a hallucinatory flight of fancy. And that explanation is fine, but it doesn't explain, there's that old joke where the guy goes to see the psychiatrist and says, "Doc, my brother's insane, he thinks he's a chicken." And the doctor says, "Well, send him in at once." And the guy says, "Yeah, but who can afford the price of eggs?" Anyway, the shape-shifting shamanist hypothesis fails to explain the eggs, another ancient symbol. The goddess's avian avatar laying the egg from which all of creation hatches. In Europe, the popularity of the bird goddess seems to have reached its peak in what we call the Chalcolithic period, around 7,000 years ago. It's very difficult to study the Chalcolithic era. For one thing, there are no surviving texts. For another, every time I read the word Chalcolithic, my brain registers the word as chocoholic. And then I wonder if the texts from that era were cuneiform etchings on Hershey bars. But even without surviving texts, the symbolism of the goddess as waterfowl can be read in numerous ways. For one thing, the duck or goose is a creature who can traverse the realms of land, water, and air. It seems to live on the border between the living world and the dark, watery underworld. It can dive down for seemingly impossible lengths of time and emerge from the primeval muck untarnished, and then take to the air. In the days before houses and buildings, the sight of migratory birds flying south was a sign that it was time for humans also to seek warmer climates for the winter months. We can forget, although we remember every year at around this time, that the human is naturally a migratory species. Now, these days, not many of us can afford to own land in both New York and Florida, but those lucky few are still called snowbirds. The goose is also a symbol of plenty. The egg looks dead as a stone, but inside there is this golden well of protein. And for primitive foragers who didn't have all of their teeth, a raw egg was a full day's worth of food that you didn't even have to chew. The goose of plenty was one symbol of the prehistoric goddess. Another symbol was the predatory owl, the nocturnal hunter, a reminder that all who live are stalked by death. Together, the owl and the waterfowl represent a spectrum of the ancient goddess, from nativity to fertility to mortality, the turning points in a life cycle. Or as the old priests used to say, hatch 'em, match 'em, and dispatch 'em. The creation of birds is one of those few topics where the Bible and the biology textbook agree. Birds are the second born of creatures, after the monsters and before the mammals. In the first chapter of the biblical book of Genesis, verse 21, we read, God created the great sea monsters and every winged bird of every kind. So if sea monsters here mean dinosaurs and a day means a few million years, then yes, the dinosaurs actually did eventually turn into the birds. That's why a chicken is still shaped like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And if you've ever been around chickens, they don't know the change has happened. Then after creating the animals and the insects and the worms, God makes humans and gives them dominion over all of these creatures, including the birds, most of whom still haven't received this message. Avian liberty is still celebrated today when concert goers feel confined by a long song and begin chanting, "Free bird." Yeah, I don't know. I just, it popped into my head. I was like, that one. God created the birds in the Bible shortly after dividing the watery chaos into sky, land, and sea, and the birds would have their next biblical moment in the flood story, when God has recombined the sky, land, and sea back into a watery chaos. Noah and his family survive on the ark, preserving animals 2 by 2 including the birds, and then the dove brings back the olive branch. Actually, things get a little bit confusing here. Because first, the Bible tells us that Noah sends out the raven, and it never returns. Then he sends the dove 3 times. Once it comes back empty-beaked, then with the branch, and from its 3rd trip, it doesn't come back at all. So if the creatures came in pairs, it's unclear how the species of the raven and dove continue with the original mating pair having been separated. Rabbis have obsessed over this inconsistency for centuries. And the best explanation that they have devised is that when Noah commanded the raven to search for land, the bird suspected that the old man was sending him on a hopeless suicide mission, his raven bride. And never mind here that Noah was 600 years old at the time. And when the raven finally agreed to go, he got distracted by floating cadavers and never came back. Oddly, even this rabbinic legend does not explain how the raven's mate later produced offspring. So maybe it was Noah after all. Ravens make their next big appearance centuries later when the prophet Elijah is hiding out from the wicked queen Jezebel, and God commands him to wait out a drought and commands the ravens to bring him daily bread and meat. What this meat was, the Bible does not say. But if it's something the ravens were pecking, it probably wasn't kosher. In Judaism, you still leave out a plate for Elijah during Passover, but presumably not roadkill. How the birds got this bread is an even greater mystery, since Jesus so famously said, "Consider the ravens who neither sow nor reap, who have no storehouses or barns." So if the ravens couldn't produce this bread, it may have been stolen. Or maybe this is one of those manna from heaven things. Jesus said the ravens don't farm, and yet God feeds them. And of how much more value are you than the birds? This is a pretty bold statement, that God loves people so much more than birds. But it comes from Jesus' cultural upbringing. One of the details that usually gets left out of the Christmas pageant is in Luke's gospel. After the scene with the shepherds, Mary and Joseph bring baby Jesus to the temple. And we read, "When the time came for the purification according to the law of Moses, they brought him up to Jerusalem to present him, and they offered a sacrifice according to what is stated in the law of the Lord, a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons." This pair of birds that was sacrificed in the temple after the birth of Jesus was actually the discount sacrifice for people who couldn't afford a lamb. Now, according to the gospel, Jesus had at least 7 siblings, 5 brothers and 2 sisters. And when you add it up, that means that Mary had to go to the temple 8 times and sacrifice 16 birds. And I have to wonder how the birds would have felt about this. Like God cursed women because of Eve eating the fruit. But the curse falls double on the turtle doves. Where is the divine justice in that? This rampant slaughter of turtle doves makes it all the more miraculous that the Holy Ghost descended in the form of a dove at the Annunciation. It's amazing that no one grabbed it to sell at the temple. Jesus did apparently have mixed feelings about all this. When he attacked the temple and the merchants with a bullwhip, he smashed the bird cages, releasing the doves that were being held there for sacrifice. The story takes yet another twist in the Acts of the Apostles when Jesus is gone and Peter was trying to decide what to eat. And God sent a vision of a sheet full of animals with lizards and birds, commanding that the hard-headed disciple kill and eat them. And Peter argued that some of them were ritually unclean, but God castigated him for being so judgmental. Unclean birds at the time were owls, ravens, vultures, and storks. And God declared open season on them. So ravens became food, And thank goodness at least one stork survived, or else Christian doctrine would have no explanation of where babies come from, except for some bizarre collaboration of birds and bees. And I looked up, I was researching birds in the Bible. I thought it was going to be so gentle. It was such a mess. The Haida tribe, who live on an island off British Columbia, tell of a raven who lived in the earliest days of creation, when the universe was dark. And he bumbled around, looking for girls to flirt with, and pranks to play, and food to steal, but he kept bumping into things in this darkness. He heard of a house where an old man lived with his adult daughter. And somewhere in this house was a box containing something mysterious and wonderful. This got his attention. A family with hidden wealth was perfect for a prank. So he found the house, but it was too dark for him to find the door. He got an idea. He shrunk himself down really, really small, turned himself into a hemlock needle, and waded in the river. When the woman drew water and drank it, the raven, she swallowed the needle, and the raven transformed into a baby in her belly so that he could get inside of the house. And he was born in there, and as a little boy, he tricked the old man into opening the box, and inside of it was light, all of the light in the universe. So resuming his raven form, he picked up the ball of light in his beak and he flew off. But he accidentally dropped the ball and it shattered. And the pieces hit the ground and bounced into the sky, becoming the sun and the stars. The raven was a trickster. He did this for his own selfish amusement. But from this prank, light came into the world. Many indigenous cultures have raven stories. This is what we're seeing here. This is a Haida depiction of the raven. And there in his mouth is the ball. He is stealing the ball of light. Many indigenous cultures have these raven trickster comedy stories. The raven is a scavenger who lets other animals do the work of hunting and then shows up to eat when they're gone. The raven is also a messenger between the living world and the spirit world, a reminder of mortality. So maybe it's best for people to believe that he has a dark sense of humor. In the Haudenosaunee creation story, the Iroquois creation, a pregnant woman is falling from the sky toward a dark world of water, and the circling birds spot her, knowing that with nowhere to land, she will sink and be gone. They discuss this and they vote. And they discuss it and they vote again. And they discuss it and they keep doing this while she's falling. They keep doing this until they reach a consensus. And they all agree that they will circle. And they'll circle close and use their wings to slow her fall. And they will summon a turtle to raise her shell to the surface, saving the Sky Woman's life. In Iroquois storytelling, this is the first instance of democracy, and the humans inherit this wisdom from the birds. In Midwestern Lakota culture, the world is made up of two-legged peoples, humans, the four-legged peoples, the animals, the standing peoples, the plants, and the winged peoples, the birds. All are citizens in the community of life, each with spirit and spiritual responsibility. In this belief system, the bird dances its prayer by flying and sings its prayers in song. And when humans perform important and challenging dances, they'll blow on an eagle bone whistle to translate their pain into bird song. Well, it's winter in western New York. The birds have flown down to Florida, taking their songs with them. The only music in the air is the howling wind nipping at your ears. They will be back in spring to fill the sky with their beautiful, lewd music. We may think birdsong is pretty, but that's just a coincidence. Any CD of it should have a parental advisory sticker or an explicit content warning. You know that birds only sing one thing. It is what we humans call sexual harassment. I wonder if blue jays hear construction workers wolf whistling and catcalling at lady joggers and say, those humans sure can make beautiful music. I think that's how they learned to fly, was to get away in a hurry after tweeting obscenities. If the sparrows were here in winter, they would be laughing at us, not just because we're too dumb to migrate, mostly because when there's ice on the sidewalk and a person slips, they'll flap their arms like wings. It's an instinctive thing. You can't help it. I did it last winter. I was slipping on the ice, and my arms started flapping like wings. And I actually did manage to flap hard enough to keep myself upright. And then I looked around, not to see if I had won a karate contest with my crane kick, but because I wondered if there were any birds on wires laughing like drunks in midnight choirs. Maybe someday I'll get to see someone slip on the ice, flap like crazy, achieve liftoff, and fly down to Florida. When you get there, look out for the alligators. The rest of us can await the return of our fine feathered friends while contemplating age-old mysteries, like which came first, the chicken or the egg? How is a raven like a writing desk? And why did the chicken cross the road? Thank you.
Thank you, John. I'd like to invite you to rise and body your spirit as we sing together. It's hymn number 203 in the gray hymnal, verses 1, 3, and 5, and the words will be projected up front. Standing as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please be seated for a few brief announcements.
As our service draws to an end, our service to the world is ready to begin. Let me tell you about some of the opportunities to connect and serve in the days to come. Please join us for coffee and conversation immediately following the service. We meet in the Emerson room, that's back there through those doors, and love to see you there. This coming Saturday is a game and trivia potluck beginning at 5:30 p.m. Ridiculously good fun for all ages. If you'd like to attend, but driving in the dark is an issue for you, connect with Reverend Michelle to see about a ride. Next week's service is called What is Love Calling You to Do? Reverend Michelle is putting that on, and this service will kick off the UU 30 Days of Love with a focus on justice and compassion. And now Bruce Becker will come up to talk about our favorite subject, food.
Good morning, everyone. I actually have two topics to talk about today. The first one is to get you ready and hungry for food the following day. So on behalf of Diane Tucker and the group of folks who are working on the rehabilitation of the first floor of the RE wing, where the offices, the administrative offices will be moving this spring, on Saturday, January 27th, there will be a painting party starting at 10 a.m. that morning, i.e. paintbrushes. You don't need any great skill. We're not painting the Sistine Chapel ceiling, because we are UUs, so in any case, that wouldn't be appropriate. But there is a sign up out on the table where my next topic will be, and if you have any questions, you can ask Diane. Well, after you've done painting, then you should sign up today. Make sure you don't miss out, as indeed on Sunday the 28th, immediately at 1 o'clock, so a little bit after service, we'll have a family spaghetti dinner. There's my other prop, spaghetti dinner. $14 for adults, $6 for children, free for those under 5, I believe. Diane is selling tickets today, table right back in the rear of the Emerson room at coffee hour. We'll be selling tickets the next 3 Sundays. On your program, there is a note, a flyer about that with a QR code, so you can always sign up during the week. We'll be happy to take your cash at any time, and you can always send a check in at any time too. So, painting first, get hungry, come for lunch on Sunday the 28th. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. As always, see the church newsletter, the forward, for information regarding upcoming services and events. And if you don't get that in your email, sign up for it. And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't invite you to participate in supporting the mission and ministry of UU Amherst with your financial gifts. You'll find a green basket right at the back of the chapel to receive your contributions, or you can give online by going to our website, uuamherst.org, and click on the giving link, or text your gift to the number on the screen. Your gifts and participation are important because we and play.
Together we have sanctified this space. If you have found strength and comfort here, share some out there. They need it. Remember that you are blessed, and you are a blessing, and you are not alone.
Go in peace.